News Uncensored. You are now rocking with the best. Make sure that you follow us on social media. Also, share and hit the like button for the best sound in the industry. Go down in the description box and get you a pair of Beats headphones right now. And now for our feature presentation.
Welcome to another surprise episode of the Uncensored Truth Podcast. I am your brother, Oh God, and sitting right across from me or on the other screen is my co-host.
What it do? Was good out there, people? It's your brother Sam Man, Viral Hip Hop News. You're on another episode, like Oh God said, a special edition of the Uncensored Truth Podcast. Oh God, was good, my brother.
Chilling, man. We had to get this to y'all. You know, we got a lot of stuff to do later on, so we weren't able to convene today. But we got a good hour right now to sit down and talk about the Charlamagne Tha God case. We've been covering it, extensively, on the Uncensored Truth Podcast. I think we gave it a fair shake, listened to a lot of the audios, and had some real good dialogue about it. But Charlamagne and the Breakfast Club, which I thought was real dope and needed. And he actually brought his wife, onto the phone call. They spoke about it, uploaded a video today, doing one of their radio podcast segments, whatever you want to call it.
You just joined us. Something popped up on the net yesterday about Charlamagne. Now, I believe the headline was Charlamagne raped his wife.
No, it says Charlamagne admits. Don't just make up a headline. It says
everybody else does.
Admits first sexual experience with his wife was rape.
Who posted that?
Madame Noir.
Okay. Well, that stemmed from a conversation I was having on my podcast about rape culture, and I remember it was a lot of op-eds and think pieces last year, but I remember Teen Vogue in particular had a headline, is drunk sex considered rape? So my wife and I were discussing it, because the first time we had sex, we were, super young and super drunk. So I asked her, did she consider that consensual sex based off the conversation that was happening online? And, the audio clip they got circulating online, of course, is edited and it stops at me just saying, yeah, but she told me, yeah, I can see how people say that, but that's not what happened with us. It's not like I said no.
Well, let me call her.
Stop acting like you have her phone number. I gave you her number, okay?
Let me call her.
Let's
so
call
crazy.
And Charlamagne would definitely call your wife if need be.
That is not true.
Yes,
I would
you
never,
would. You definitely had Envy call his wife when he was in the middle of some trauma.
Let me call her. Hold on.
Mook.
Yeah.
Do you feel like discussing this headline? I've never called you to have you on the radio. The last time you've been on the radio was 1999 at Z93 Jams in Charleston, South Carolina, New Year's Eve. We kissed on the radio.
Wow.
You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So talk to the people, baby. Did I rape you the first time we had sex with each other?
Leonard, you need to learn how to
First of all, only Monique calls me Leonard. I'm just playing. Go ahead.
No, I call you Leonard. Forget that. You need to learn how to tell stories. You shouldn't have used the word rape, first of all, because the conversation that we were having is about rape culture. So the conversation that we were having was that you felt like it was okay for you to have sex with me while I was intoxicated. That's a rape culture thing. That's not rape. So when you asked me that question, I was hesitant to answer you because you used the word rape. But, that's not what went down. Like, we both know what happened. And I was not passed out. I was very coherent. Like, enough for me to lift up my hips so you could take my panties off. So
knock it off. Whoa. Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry. Like, that's what happened. You know this happened. And the next morning, we had sex. So,
we had sex the next morning?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Your memory is for you don't remember anything. And we first kissed that night, too.
That was our first kiss that night.
Wow, you guys dated for a year? That was your first kiss?
She made me wait for a year.
Yes.
You couldn't even she didn't like you really at first.
What are you talking about? We used to go on dates all the time.
And y'all never kissed for a year?
She's a good woman, okay? All right.
Angela, are you questioning me? Like, what's up?
No, I'm just saying a year. For a kiss?
Yes, for a kiss.
I know this might be inappropriate.
Okay, well, don't ask it then.
Was he good? Was he at least good?
Yeah, have a good morning, baby. I don't know why y'all be acting like my wife's the one for smoke. She has no problem giving the smoke, okay? That is who runs the household, by the way. Now, can we ask the question?
What question?
This is a question that Teen Vogue posted last year.
And what's that?
Is drunk sex consensual?
We'll talk about it when we come back. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning. We are The Breakfast Club. Now, if you just joined us, Charlamagne's wife just called us, and she was talking about the statement or the headlines that popped up yesterday. What were the headlines yesterday, Yee?
It says Charlamagne admits first sexual experience with his wife was rape.
I want to acknowledge that my tone was all wrong when I was having that conversation on the podcast, and I should have never used the term rape so loosely. because it was irresponsible and not appropriate for what I was trying to describe. But what I was trying to describe was, this conversation centered around rape culture, and Teen Vogue had a headline last year: "Is drunk sex considered rape?" So my wife and I were discussing it because the first time that we had sex, we were both super drunk. So, I asked her, did she consider that consensual sex based off the conversation?
Which brings the question, 800-585-1051, is drunk sex considered consensual?
To stop it. So they not really obviously weren't going to address, the allegations. Obviously he can't, because that's still ongoing. She took it up to the South Carolina, Supreme Court. That is Jessica Reed. But Sam, man, what do you think about them having that conversation? Because I think it needed to be had, because we were like one of the few platforms that actually kind of touched on it, but you had like your extreme on either side, like people calling this rape, or people scared to talk about it, but they kind of like dove right into it and touched on that gray area a little bit. What you think about that the way they handled that situation?
Oh God, when we did it, we prided ourselves of doing it as objective as we possibly could, and we took a lot of heat for what we said. A lot of people trying to ride the coattail and saying that we Charlamagne lovers, yada yada yada, this, that, the third. We tried to pride ourselves, and we did pride ourselves, on being as objective as we could in this situation. And we both found, just based off of the evidence, based off of the length of time, just based off of everything that was out there, we found as though Charlamagne Tha God was innocent of those charges. But I'm not going to lie right here. He has to say more. In my opinion, he has to say more, because he opened up a can of worms, even in talking about it in general, how they titled it, how everything that how they presented it in a way that Jessica Reed was in that equation. Even though you might say he couldn't have talked about it, those questions and those allegations about his wife weren't brought up until Jessica Reed were. Spanish Fly wasn't brought up until Jessica Reed was. All these allegations about rape, no one seemed to care about these things, because he's been going on radio saying these real loose things on and on and on for a long time. And never has anyone brought it up until now these serious allegations come into place. So he has to talk about it more. In my opinion, I don't think this is the end of the conversation. I think if he does duck it, he deserves the criticism. Now, that doesn't make me backpedal in my stance of saying he's innocent of that rape charge back in 2001. I don't back off my stance at all. I still firmly believe that he is. I also firmly believe that Jessica Reed, something did happen to that young woman that night, and she does deserve justice, and justice needs to be served in that situation. Not saying not saying that I'm backpedaling in any of that, but I do firmly believe that Charlamagne Tha God owes the people a lot more than what he gave them, because although they were kind of forthright in jumping into the rape conversation, and he was very apologetic in his tone and how he used it, he still ducked a lot of issues that people are asking about, and it's all over the comment section on the Breakfast Club right now.
Do you get this sense that, that's a good point you make about the comment section, make some other good points too, but do you think that is sort of like a damage control? Like, because again, you had some people thinking about like that whole Spanish Fly thing. When that came out, that was like a bombshell, because it was like you had the allegation, but then when that came out, it was like, well, dang, well, did he really do it? Now it's like I was kind of sitting there thinking, and then I kind of always almost, this is my opinion, it kind of looked like he may have been reading off a teleprompter or something on the screen that was already kind of written out. Not saying nothing wrong with that to have guidance. I mean, we all obviously do that too when we go through our stories, but it's just like, damage. What do you think is damage control? Damage control here.
I was going to say that, God, you took the words right out of my mouth. I 100% agree that this was damage control, because we all know what's at stake here. And I'm not mad at him for doing damage control, not at all. He barely even brings his wife into the equation at all. It was dope to kind of hear her and kind of get that human side of Charlamagne Tha God. You definitely can hear just a real down-to-earth, beautiful soul in his wife. You know what I mean? No jokes all aside. Like, she just seemed like she's definitely the foundation of the household. And he looks to her, almost gives, like I said, it humanizes him a little bit. And that's damage control. You know what I mean? That's just to make him seem like he's the human that he is, because he has put his foot in his mouth number of times on radio. Although it's raw, although we love it, although that's what the people look for, you find yourself in a serious situation like this in 2018. And now all these little slick things that you said over the years are coming back to bite you right in your ass. So on the heels of the HBO series that he has going on, the number of television appearances that he's making, he definitely has to pay damage control in the situation. It's very smart to come right out and say it on the Breakfast Club. But like I said, it's not going to be enough, especially for the people. The people are too directly connected to this, and they're going to hear it over and over again too much. He's going to have to say more.
And he's saying Charlamagne Tha God was set up, because I can't help but I went back and listened to the Brilliant Idiot interview. That's when it's circulating. And I'm kind of listening. And I don't know the nature of their relationship. I'm pretty sure they're cool. Charlamagne, I think his name is Andy Schultz. But it almost, and I raised this question to you. I was like, man, was he kind of like, was this a setup from the beginning a long time ago? Was this like already predetermined they was going to come after this man? Because it was like, it almost seemed like, and I'm not trying to, paint no bad blood on this guy or nothing, but I'm just got to put it out there because we're uncensored, right? Maybe that was a setup going on. Like it seemed like the guy Andy kept trying to get Charlamagne to say rape, and he kept insinuating rape, and like, why you keep saying that? And Charlamagne kept like, nah. He was in the interview like, no, I didn't rape her. He kept reiterating that, and I think that's one of the conversations that his wife was saying, like he never should have, talked that immature. Even you said that, as well. So yeah, what you think about that, Sam, man?
Oh my, give me 1 second. Jay's about to.
All right.
Hold on. All right, Jay. All right, sorry about that. Nah, man, you brought up a real great point in that, and I honestly, I don't know. I'm gonna say that my instincts say that dude and Andy wasn't setting him up. I think this is just a New York kid, smart aleck motherfucker that was just trying to having real taboo conversation, saying that he was kind of throwing that rape out there. I don't even know that he understood the magnitude and what he was doing. I'm gonna paint it up to ignorance on his behalf right now, and I don't really seek an agenda on his behalf to kind of paint or get Charlamagne into a situation where this could ultimately destroy him. I don't see that. It's not too far-fetched. It's a great point. It's a great question. And it should go to like, listen, if these roles were reversed and it was Charlamagne doing this to Andy, would one, we be going at it so hard? Maybe today, but would we be going at it so hard? And two, would we be blaming Charlamagne more so and not giving him the pass like we kind of are Andy right now? So you paint a great picture right now and even raising that question.
Right. And, I'm again not trying to, spread no seeds, but it just kind of seemed like, but again, like you said, it could be just ignorance, on his, behalf. Definitely. Can you still see me?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I'm gonna paint it up to that, man. Like I said, I don't see him. He could have been in a real relaxed atmosphere. The Brilliant Idiots, I don't know when that actual set was actually recorded. It could have been relatively young in their career, and we're both in podcasts. We know
like 2015, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so that's pretty young in their stuff.
Yeah.
So when you get comfortable on the microphone and stuff starts flowing, you can start talking and forget you on the microphone. And them high-profile people coming off of Guy Code and things like that, they had to just watch what they said, man, and they're realizing that now more so than ever. I'm sure Andy's like, fuck, I wish I didn't say that. I would love to hear what he has to say about it.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be real dope, to definitely hear that. So yeah, man, Charlamagne Tha God, finally, speaking a little bit on it, but Sam man thinks that he didn't really do enough. And I would say, once again, I think he done as much as he could, because if he is one of those things, like if you keep going too far with it, you're gonna fall off the cliff. And at this point now, one more question about the Charlamagne thing. Do you think that this is going to backfire on him? Do you think it's going to backfire him? Actually, I don't think so either. Right.
No, I don't. I almost see it as a situation where it's going to die off. The comments aren't going to stop. People aren't going to stop. But in the public opinion and in the investors' eyes and people that really matter to him, the people that's going to put the money in his pockets, I think it's going to die off real soon. You're going to have people in the comment section going crazy, absolutely crazy over that. And that's what they're supposed to do. You know what I mean? But I think in this situation, when it comes to it's going to start slowly dying down the more offensive he gets with it. Now, it's a great point you make. If he does too much, maybe he can fall off a cliff. It remains to be seen. We'll see. I think he needs to
Cal, man. Like you said, you made a good point. I mean, he's still worth a lot to people. He's still great media personality. He's great at what he does, and he's still going to command a dollar. That HBO stuff, none of that's going anywhere. All they hate is y'all can fall back at this point. You know what I mean? But I do hope, like you said in the beginning, was very great, and I agree with you 100%. I want to see everybody get the help that they need. If young lady Jessica, Reed, if she needs the help, she got trauma, go get that help, and everybody get the help, and we can move forward. You know what I mean? In this whole thing, I think that'll be dope.
Facts. Facts on that.
Listen to the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother Old God and Sam, man. Everybody that's listening or about to listen to this, please go ahead and hit the like button and make sure that you share this content if you enjoy it. We really do appreciate, all the participation. Let me see what else.